Hello and welcome to Patched. I'm your host, Paul James. Today I'm joined by Matto Phillips. How's things, mate?
Hot. This is finally hot.
Bit sweaty in there.
It's taken them 2 months to finally this joint to get hot.
Yeah, I got the shits up with it a little bit. The weather just starts to pick up like days before I go back to work. Like I've had 6 weeks off and it's been shit show.
Nothing but rain. Nothing but rain.
And then finally it comes good right at the end. I say that and like I got burnt to bits spending 2.5 hours out in the sun without sunscreen, hat, or anything the other day.
Oh no.
And the one that had me in the real sin bin was that my son got caught up in it as well. He just kind of hid in my shadow for a fair bit of the time, as much as he possibly could. So he's coming up alright, whereas I'm just it won't show on the camera, but I'm just starting to peel a little bit. Day before my staff photos, it'd be great.
I won't notice it at all.
Won't notice it all. A good Photoshop will fix it all.
Maybe you should get a spray tan.
I
just in the face area.
Look, but I've tried my best to just sabotage it between burning my skin right up, getting stitches over the break. Not that that shows overly much anymore now that they're removed. I've tried to do everything I can to fuck my face up, but I'm still here. All right, we better get into it because we've got a lot to cover. Patched updates. We didn't do one in December because the last episode of the month would have been, well, we were done for the year, and we had a fair bit to cover at the back end of last year. So we've shelved it and we're doing it now. And we've got all of the games of December and January that we've been playing to talk about. Matto, I'm sure there's going to be a few things that we probably cross over on. We'll just deal with those as they come up. But what have you been playing?
Well, we probably can get this one crossed over, crossed off, whatever. That is the God of War DLC.
Valhalla. Yeah, there is crossover. Good.
The free DLC, and I must say, this is going to upset fanboys everywhere. Not a fan.
Really?
Really. No, look, I understand the story of it, great, but I played Returnal earlier that year and I had enough of that rogue type game for about a year. So I'm going to just let it rest.
So don't go play The Last of Us Part 2 remastered, right?
Oh, why?
Well, because they've got their roguelike mode in there as well.
I'll just ignore that. I'll play the actual game because I haven't played it yet.
Oh, really? Did you actually buy it in the first place?
Yes. Okay.
So that's all right. It was more like you get your cheap upgrades. That's fine.
No. This is the dumb thing. It was because when it first came out, it was going absolutely bananas, and then there was just this one sale where it went from $90 or whatever to $25. So I jumped on board, purchased it, and never played it. And then they said, $15 upgrade. I thought, I usually am not a fan of the whole upgrade money thing, but I only paid $25 for it.
Yeah.
Haven't played it. So
I
can't complain about that.
So
if it was something I did play, like, The Last of Us, no. I've played it on the PS3 and the PS4. I don't need a remaster from 10 years ago because that's just stupid. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about God of War.
We'll get to. I might once you're done with Valhalla, and I'll jump across and I'll cover that one. That way we kind of put a bit of a bow on those two. Because yeah.
I mean, the thing with God of War, the Valhalla thing. Yes, I like the story. It is interesting. I just forgotten everything that happened in old God of War 1 to 3. I think there are some enemies that are from the 1 to 3, and I just saw one.
The Cyclops appears, for example, and
the singing one. And I just thought, when I saw that, I just thought, oh no, because I did not have a fun time when I was playing the old God of War games. When I saw that, it's just like, shit. And then I fought it and defeated it with these. So I thought, I don't remember it being that easy. But God of War 1 to 3 was a different game style to this one. But I do like the story. It is an interesting story to it. It's just the roguelike side of things I just can't do for the moment. I'm still trying to get over Returnal because that just drove me absolutely insane.
I mean, Returnal's pretty brutal in comparison. Obviously, you can make Valhalla brutal if you want. Like it's got the difficulty.
Oh yeah, there's just settings and all that.
Yeah. But Returnal's, I mean, by its nature, is far more brutal than what Valhalla is. And I think most people kind of losing their mind about it because of the story part of it. And it's not the greatest story in the world, but like it's a meaningful chapter and kind of connects old God of War and new God of War which kind of the core games of 2018 and Valhalla hadn't really done. Like, they kind of loosely referenced it from time to time. We know what you did, and that sort of, but like, that was kind of it. This was a far
And
more,
sort of casual appearances by certain characters from
well, yeah,
1 to 3, and they're there for about 5 minutes, and then you like don't see him ever again. It's like, hello, dad, and like, hello, son. And that's it. That's all you see of his dad.
well, I mean,
Even
like,
though
quick
he's a
spoilers for
clown, but
2018, but like, when he gets the Blades of Chaos and you're dealing with Athena there,
Athena.
most people go, what? If you haven't played the old games, and that's the majority of people, because you only have to look at the sales numbers of 2018 to know that's, it was like double what God of War 3 sold. Well, actually, no, I think the God of 3 remaster, I don't even know what God of War 3 originally sold. So, there's lots of new people who came to it that would have, that might have fallen flat. Hopefully, a lot of those people went and picked up some of the Greek games afterwards, but there's still no great and easy way to do that in chunks of the world. So,
And then was it Ragnarok, right? Maybe, or might have been God of War. And he's just his dad's in the clouds. He just goes, "Hello, dad," or "Father."
yeah, kind of, yeah.
And he's like, "Oh, hey, what's up?" And then that was it. That's the only conversation. Like, "I'll see you later," and you never see him again.
End
Like,
spoilers,
cool.
everyone.
Oh, they're not spoilers if you haven't played the first 3 games, so you're just going to be slightly confused on what the hell's going on. Why are you talking to a cloud for no reason whatsoever?
But yeah, I guess the story part of it aside, because that is something that's kind of winning. So like the loop, obviously the typical roguelike loop stuff just wasn't clicking in the same way, or it was just too soon at the end of the day.
Just too soon.
Okay, fair enough.
I can get in the story. I can do it on the easiest mode, but I feel like that's not the point. I know you can just do the story, ignore the combat, but I like the combat in God of War. I've just completely forgot the controls when I went back to it because it's a different layout to every other game I've played since then.
Yeah.
Scratched my head. It's like, why aren't I dodging? Am I doing something wrong? Then I pressed the X button. I thought, oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, it took
I
a
was
while to
pushing
kind
the
of
wrong button.
jog the memory. And that, look, I mean, that's where kind of these arguments for standardized controls in game kind of comes into it. But at the same time, there's so many games that have different mechanics that you just it just doesn't work still.
And Japan developers will just be laughing at you, going, whatever. You
Well,
suffer.
on the PlayStation side, and I get this will extend to Xbox being a Western company, to like they've kind of asked developers to follow the Western model in terms of how you use cross and circle or A and X. It's Nintendo at the moment are the only ones like, no, we're gonna keep doing it our way. Like the A button is you're
Gotta be
okay,
the
and
B
so like
button.
they're the ones that are kind of backwards, I guess, with it these days, or the opposite to everyone else, and so that. I feel like that side of it is starting to kind of improve, and who knows what Nintendo will do in the future. But yeah, it's just the other parts of it, like that X is used for jump in some games, but it's dodge or whatever in this, and it's those sort of things that there's always an adjustment, especially when you're going back to a game. You're like, I could do this. Why can't I do it anymore? I feel like a fucking idiot.
Why did I dodge it? Am I too heavy? And all this crap, and then realized I'm pressing the wrong button for the whole time. I was like, I mean, the combat's the same in most games. It's just the dodging. The dodging button seems to just move in every game you play. It's just it's X, it's circle, it's square,
it's a bumper,
triangle for some reason. Yeah, no idea.
But I'm playing a game right now. Well, I'll talk about it soon. We'll both talk about that game soon. But like, I'm playing a game right now where the L1 button is the dodge, the bumper.
What?
Alan Wake.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
oh, yeah. That's a different story. That one. Oh man.
But yeah, before we spin off into that one, I'll quickly, I guess, launch into The Last of Us Part 2 Remastered. Obviously, the core game itself is the core game itself, and it looks way better. Well, not. It looks
Visually.
better. It looks better. I shouldn't say way better because
5 years.
it's only been a couple. Well, not even that. It's been like 3.5, and it was the PS4 version of the game looks better than a lot of PS5 native games still these days. Like that's how good a job Naughty Dog did in the first place, and I don't think they've necessarily pushed it a crazy amount since. There's a couple noticeable things, but certainly you wouldn't justify the purchase based on that alone. It's really all the other stuff that's been brought in. So the no return mode, which is the roguelike one, that's a really cool addition, but of course probably not for you right now. It's far more arcadey though. They're not trying to tell a story of any sort, unlike Returnal and God of War Valhalla. It's literally just go in, you've got this assault round, and okay, well that's where you just like you've got 3 waves of enemies that'll come out. You got to take them all out, or you've got there's a bunch of different. I think there's 5. I think in the end different kinds of encounters that you can have. that mostly fit kind of video game cliches in terms of what you might do in a like an objective based sort of model. But it's perfectly fun, but it's not going for story or anything like that. Unlike Valhalla or Returnal, or Hades, or any of those sorts of things as well. It's a really great mode, but yeah, it depends on what you're wanting to get out of it. I think they've got leaderboards, like it's instantly more gamey, and you've had some people pop out of the woodwork and go, oh, but Last of Us Part 2 is meant to be a commentary on violence and that sort of thing, but then you've got an added mode where you're just making the violence fun. I'm like, shut up, it's still a video game.
Talking about they've always made violence fun since the turn of this century.
But like the whole point, and I guess you haven't played The Last of Us Part 2, so I'll try and be mindful of anything here, but like the whole commentary around the game is around.
I know of a certain death because I mentioned it. You mentioned it in a Game of the Year thing because I didn't care. Like, I just say it.
Yeah.
Like, this person died. Like, oh yeah, cool, whatever.
There's that, but like, it's more like it's meant to be making a commentary on the cycle of violence and the loop that characters get in because Ellie is hurt by this particular death, and so she feels like she needs to go and get revenge on that person, and then it just becomes this cyclical thing, and the whole thing's meant to be this commentary on the cycles of violence, and then they go and add a mode that it's all like, yeah, violence is fun, it's okay, like it doesn't matter. And so like I get what people are going for, but also let's not lose sight of the fact that it is a separate mode, completely disconnected, intend for fun. They're adding it. They were making a multiplayer game until that was recently cancelled. Like, people got to chill out a little bit. They added some lost level stuff. So this was some cut content, and you're actually able to play through it with some director's commentary things that are in there. That's a pretty cool addition as well. You can free play the guitar that was in the game.
Oh yes.
But I don't see, like, anyone who's a musician, why would you do that? Go and play
an actual Guitar Hero. Yeah, go play that.
Or well, no, it's more. There's more in depth than Guitar Hero because you've actually got the language, but the different chords and those.
I don't really see people going on stage with a PS5 controller trying to play their guitar.
Yeah, I think it's a 5-10 minute novelty and then you move on.
Just like the PS5 controller itself.
Ooh.
I mean, the R1 and the R2 features, like, oh, this is a hard thing to open. It's getting more difficult.
Oh yeah,
like
push.
Yep, drains the battery. 45 minutes later, charge.
Well, we'll wait and see if there's that enhanced one that's been reported on. We'll see if that comes out. But
on Amazon.
Yeah. But yeah, otherwise, look, I mean, it's really, really good. To your point about the upgrade thing, anyone who bought it cheap, well, actually, I suppose really regardless of how you bought it, I was concerned. I think we were both concerned when this was rumored in the first place that, oh my god, they're doing it again. You're gonna have to pay full price, all that sort of stuff. I think that I have no hesitation in justifying it to anyone in this instance, because if you own the game in any way, shape, or form before, whether you bought it full price or bought it for say $25 like you did, you are paying in Aussie dollars $15 more to get the upgrade.
$5 less than what they said it was going to happen in Australia.
Well, yeah, it turned out that was a bit of a typo by PlayStation Australia, but and if you do that, you are getting a better looking version of the game, and if you don't care about re-experiencing that, or don't care about just the the little bit of visual stuff that's there, well, you do get a really cool roguelike mode. You do get to experience this cut content, which only is probably about half an hour of content all up. And a range of other kind of additions that they've made there. So like, it's for such a small sum of money, it's still kind of worth it. And if you didn't buy The Last of Us Part 2 in the first place, well, fine, you didn't lose anything the first time in like money wise, so just go and buy it, or get a cheap version on PS4 and then upgrade. Like, you've got plenty of options. So I think should they have done it still, and in terms of how they're spending their time and resources, I guess that's up for debate still. But in terms of what it's here and what it is, I've got no problems in justifying it, which is not what I would have said when it was when it was first being rumored, because I didn't think there'd be an upgrade path. I figured we'd have to pay full price, just like the Last of Us remastered and so many other things over or Last of Us Part 1.
Maybe they've learned from their remastered version of The Last of Us and thought, well, maybe.
To be fair, people lost their shit over The Last of Us Part 1. It was just the PC community got a pretty shitty version, and so, but PCs for dorks.
Shitty version or some absolute classic footage?
Well, there was some pretty good shit in there. Good for a laugh. All right. I'll end that there for Last of Us Part 2. We'll throw it back over to you again.
Right.
Take it in whatever direction you want. We've obviously alluded to Alan Wake 2. We can get back to that whenever you're ready.
Well, Alan Wake 2 is not on my list, but you can.
Oh well, then
I can't. It's one of those things. I can't remember if I finished it before last updates or after the last updates. I can't remember because.
What were you playing it on?
Xbox.
Your achievements would have a timestamp next to them.
It does. It says the 28th, but I don't know how close to the end of the game I was when we were talking about it.
Which I'll just
so long ago.
I'm gonna do this, and I shouldn't be doing it.
Go on.
Just for anyone from a certain community who might potentially be finding their way in here, who questions why I might want to learn about the achievements or trophies of someone, they're a timestamp for all the things you've accomplished. So go fuck off and support your little fraud if you want to. Dash. I found myself re-embroiled in that stuff over the holiday break. So, for anyone who's unsure, trophies they tell you when you did something, and so you can look at those and identify whether someone's done it or not. Moving on.
And mine are on public. And mine are on public too, so you can see all my achievements too. No digs, just. I'm not afraid to.
I mean, there's times where we need to put things on private because we're told to, but to then also lie and say that you're under embargo all the time is, well, that's a lie.
Okay, back onto games. My next game is a fishing game, as from 2 months ago, on a boat. The good old not Dave the Diver.
Dredge.
That wasn't Dave the Diver. Dredge. I know there's a crossover with. Is it Dave the Diver?
Yeah, Dave the Diver is the one, but at the moment that's only on PC and Switch. I'm kind of waiting for a PlayStation version.
No, so yes, played, finished Dread, great game, 10 out of 10. Nothing I like. Well, I actually did the whole thing of not sleeping. I thought it'd be a bit more loopier, but it's not too bad. I was just casually minding my own business, and all of a sudden an octopus's tentacle came out and tried to attack me. I was like, oh, fuck this, I'm getting out of here.
But then as you go to get out of there, all of a sudden, like, there's rocks just popping up out of nowhere, and so, like, you're just bashing
is that... wait, so that actually is a hallucination.
Yeah, that's all part of the hallucination.
Oh, okay. I thought my light was just rubbish and not picking it up.
No, it's they will just randomly pop up, you're there, and boom, all of a sudden, you've got rocks right in your face.
Oh, good. That makes so much more sense then, because the whole hallucination thing. Like, I was there thinking, going, I don't remember rocks just appearing out of nowhere.
And to be fair, they are just appearing out of nowhere, but it's all in the head. But it's still like it does damage to the boat. Yeah,
it is. But is it? But it is.
But it is. Yeah, it's a weird one.
It's a weird thing. And then it's like, oh, you go to stop, sell your fish or whatever. It's like, oh, you look like you need some sleep. Like, no, I don't. No sleep. We need to go fishing and not get chased by big animals. Stingrays. Can't trust those things. Bastards and things, that stingray.
I don't really remember dealing with stingray, but I was really cautious about it.
I don't think it was a stingray. It's just, you know, that there's those ones with the red eyes. You know, anything with the red eyes, run away. By the fastest motor possible and speed away.
I was pretty cautious about my sleep, so I didn't really have too many encounters.
I finished the game, and then I decided to go no sleep just to see how loopy it got. And well, now I'm starting to question myself of how loopy it was, because I honestly don't know, because
you don't know what was real and what wasn't.
I don't know what was it. I could have not been fishing the whole time. I don't know.
You were actually hallucinating. It wasn't even the game; it was you specifically.
Yeah, me. And then finished the game. Looked at it. It ended. I was like, okay, cool. Then credits rolled. I thought, brilliant. No big boss battles.
Did you?
Right.
I won't worry about the kind of misleading stuff with the ending. You kind of do the thing for the guy, but then you go and find something afterwards, and that's when credits roll. I can't remember if the credits rolled twice and they kind of pump fake with that. But but did you try? But I guess the other part was the DLC. Have you tried the DLC at all?
No, I've not tried the DLC yet. Is it out?
Yeah, it's out. I think it's only about 10, maybe $15 or something like that. Again, very cheap. It's, I think, probably adds another 3. It depends on how completionist you want to be, but it probably adds another 2 or 3 hours to it. In a like another section of the map, more things to kind of explore and do. It's pretty cool. Definitely worth it if you find yourself with a little bit of time, especially since you enjoyed the game.
I might have to look into that when I get a chance to.
Yeah.
Then moved on there. Then I decided to just download Redfall. See how it
Oh,
was.
what?
All my
I wasn't
okay.
expecting that.
All I can say is this: it looks better. The resolution is better, 60 frames a second, great. But everything else, garbage. So I uninstalled it. It's
Well,
like, yeah,
yeah.
as much as it looks better, this, that, or whatever, you can't fix that game,
That's the thing.
unfortunately.
Like, good visuals are nice, but they don't mask over shitty game design. So,
Yeah. So I uninstalled it. I thought I've got better things to play.
such as,
Such as, well, I haven't played too much of this game. It is Wild Hearts.
oh
But
yes,
I haven't gone too far into it because I think I had other games that I got incredibly distracted by. But it is one of those things you look at and go, yeah, it's just like Monster Hunter. And that's not an easy thing to get out of. It's just Monster Hunter have done it for years. No one else has really come close to it, or even not
really
even in
attempted it on the
competition.
same level too. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's not terrible. Let's just say that it's hard to get out of the Monster Hunter shadow. That's all I
Yeah.
can say.
Well,
You're not going to do it.
experience counts for something, right? Like you've
Say,
been making it for 20. What are they celebrating this year? Is it their 20th? I think it's their 20th anniversary, 25th anniversary. Like that gives you a lot of time to really master the craft.
and if you can't beat them, join them, and that's pretty much the way I see it. That's how they've done it, and
Well,
I have
what do you
no
think about
problem with that.
what was it, the Karakuri, the stuff like all the construction, the kind of Fortnite-y inspired
Oh
elements.
yes,
What do you think about that sort
um,
of stuff?
not a fan.
Oh, really?
Yeah, not yet. I haven't really gone fully into it because I just sort of skipped over the tutorials because I just wanted to hunt the monster,
That's fair.
and then get back to building stuff.
You'll find yourself using it more and more, even if it's just the simple one where you kind of build the three kind of cubes on top of one another to get
Oh
give
yeah,
yourself
oh
a
you
big
mean
spread.
that the building thing? Oh
Yeah.
yeah, no, I'm a fan of that.
Oh,
Just
yeah.
build 3 boxes and then just jump off it and just land on
Or as they're
the
about to
monster.
charge, you kind of you stack up.
Yeah,
I think it's a 3x3
3.
sort of grid, and
Yeah,
boom, it becomes a wall, and they just cannon straight into the wall and knock themselves
yeah,
senseless.
just knock yourselves out. Yeah, well, that I do like. I thought you meant like when you're at the base and you have to build stuff. Do you have to build stuff? I can't remember.
Oh, geez, yeah, no, I can't remember that.
Yeah, I have to get back to it and tell you. There was something about. I know that building part. Yeah, just if you can't get to a place that's too high, you just build some
Yeah,
blocks,
build a few blocks and
climb
climb
up.
up.
No use of stamina. You don't waste your stamina, I should say, which is brilliant.
Yeah.
I am a fan.
There's some cool things there that Monster Hunter Wilds could learn from if they decide to. Don't know if they will, and that's not some sort of crack at Capcom. I don't know if it's just something they want to necessarily do, but because they've been kind of leaning into the wire bugs and those sort of things to kind of get their vertical components.
Their
But
grapple hook,
yeah,
which they brought in for
so
Iceborne.
I don't know which way they want to go, but it's pretty cool. I mean, I don't know if EA's keen on it, but I'd love to see a sequel.
Well, it all depends on how much it's sold, which is always
Um,
the problem.
yeah, I'll take a quick look while we're chatting, but I
Well, the upside is, look,
I
good thing.
assume. Go on, sorry.
So it's a good thing Capcom's not investigating or investigated Wild Hearts like some other game
Like Palworld
company.
and Pokemon Company.
Yes.
Far too different. Good luck when you get to the Golden Tempest, which is a giant like tiger-like thing late in the game.
Okay.
It's
Tough one.
The difficulty spike is pretty huge.
Huge. Okay.
It's
I'll keep that in
they
mind.
balance that poorly. So maybe at that point consider just jumping online and grabbing put out a call out for someone to join your game.
That's if I could find anyone. That's going to be the big question.
I got to it. I mean, it's not 12 months late, but I got to it a bit late, and there was still a community there, and I absolutely for the first time to get through that Golden Tempest. That's exactly what I did, and then got through it on the first go from that point, and then more successful since as the normal Monster Hunter loop. You start getting better. You start getting parts, build better gear. Suddenly, it became a little bit easier to deal with. But yeah, that one encounter is pretty rough.
Oh, fair enough. I might as well just jump on to the next game, which is Palworld.
Oh, you've been
I played a little bit of it, and I know there's like the Pokemon fanboys get up, says, "Oh, the Pokemon rip off this and that." Answer is, yeah, some of the designs, yeah, you can argue about that, but the rest of the game, no. You want to know why? because it works. Unlike Game Freak's last release of whatever the Pokemon games were called. Was it Ultraviolet and I don't know what they're called.
Oh no, there's Scarlet and
The
Violet,
buggy ones.
and then they've put out that
The
DLC.
buggy ones. The
Yeah.
buggy ones.
Yeah, Scarlet and Violet.
Scarlet and Violet. But it's also the fact too, it is a survival game. There are guns, so you can shoot the, I don't know what they're called, pals? I don't know what they're called.
Yeah, the pals. Yeah.
And you can butcher them. Don't see that in Pokemon, do you? No. And it's hilarious as someone. But it is funny that Nintendo or Game Freaks is investigating the whole Palworld thing. And I think it's only because some idiot or some person made a Pokemon mod so everything just looked like Pokemon. So you're just there. And you're Ash, which was even funnier. So you're just there with a shotgun shooting Pokemon, which is just going to ruin
it's going to break hearts everywhere. I've just done a little bit of digging. I haven't been able to find a huge amount yet. Apparently, Koei's not been super forthcoming with sales, but on PC, there's at least 350,000 copies sold. On Steam specifically, sorry, because you're able to get that information. Don't have anything too detailed about PC other than like Japan. They sold like 30,000 copies in the first day, which is a pretty good figure in Japan. So Koei's happy. That's maybe a good sign if we want more.
Well, that's good. Yeah, so I haven't played too much of Palworld yet because I can't figure out what the hell's going on because I'm not used to survival games. All I've been doing is chopping down trees for wood.
I mean, just slap those pals around, put them to work afterwards. If there's anyone lazy, cut them up, get someone else to
Oh, is that what you do? Oh, I didn't know what to do. I didn't know if I could just have a sit down, have a good talking to them, or...
Well, I don't I haven't played it myself, but just like the stuff that I'm hearing is like you can, you catch them afterwards and then you can put them to work at your little base or whatever. And
oh yeah, you can do that, but I just don't know how to improve their work because I don't really want to butcher them to death.
Well, no, some of them apparently just don't have a good work ethic. At which point you either throw them back in the ball or get really spiteful and just kill them.
Oh, Plan B sounds pretty good.
Yeah,
I don't care about it. I'll just go catch another one. Then, so on to the next one. Is my only Nintendo game for the last 2 months. A game is probably not the type of game I would usually play. And a game that I got one day, I said the name and you just went, "You got that?" Which is Xenoblade.
Yeah.
Xenoblade Chronicles. And I like it. It's a very different style of game. It's just one of those things like, yeah, you're all a bunch of people with, I would say, expiry dates, this, that, blah, blah, blah. And then it's one of those games where, oh, you got to go to this point. I'm thinking, I don't really want to go there because I know there's going to be a 20-minute cutscene that I've got to sit through and watch. It's like, I've got to go do something. I thought, okay, I'm just going to go this place. And I'll find out it's a 20-minute cutscene. I think, oh, man. It's just... I know you can't skip it, but it's pointless skipping it because I'm just going to come out and go, what the hell's going on?
What am I doing? Yeah, you kind of need to grind it out regardless whether you watch
who's
it
this,
or not.
I was like, who's this person? Who's Ethel? And all these people. You scratch your head and go, I should not skip those cutscenes. But I didn't. I just sat there for a while. I know there's a story all behind it, and I'm sort of putting it all together. I can go, yeah, you're that guy, even though I can't see your face. All this stuff.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm sort of putting together. I could be wrong on all those, yeah, that's you. I could be wrong on that. And fair enough. And I'm not bothered by it. But it's been a while since I played the old, you just press one button and just sit back, relax, go get yourself a snack and just let them fight it out. And then someone dies and you're like,
it won't stay. No. It won't stay that way for you, but yeah.
No, I already know that. It's just come up against tougher enemies and then you just go, oh, I can't do that.
So how many hours do you reckon you've put into it so far?
Only 10.
Yeah, okay.
So I reckon I've still got a long way to go.
Yeah, 50.
Well, I've got a way long. Yeah, I've only gone to one colony so far. That is the Ethel colony of Colony 9. Is it 9? 4. Colony 4. Colony 9 was my old colony, and I got
the original one is, according to how long to beat, is about 57 hours. So.
For 3?
Oh, sorry, for 3 it's 62.
Oh, it's even longer. That's all right. I can live with that.
101 for
put
main
60
plus extra, 170 for completionist. That's insane.
107. That's I can't
for the
argue about
completion stuff,
107.
that's doing everything.
I've played The Witcher 3 for 170 hours. I didn't complain. I don't think I even completed it at all.
Yeah.
But still, good game though. So yeah, I enjoy that, and yeah, the British people voices and all that.
It's a lot.
It's a lot. It's just the standard Japanese type squeaky voice.
Unfortunately,
voiceovers.
unfortunately, it's kind of a standard. There's a few franchises that try and do better, but yeah.
Yeah, well, it's standard. I expect it. It's just like, yeah, come on, just your squeaky voice of awkwardness, this, that, whatever. Yeah, okay, just get on with it. I want to just fight a dog or a giant bird that's
Something
probably
that looks like a
endangered.
giant turtle and all that sort of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. I'll get back on that. And then the next game is a game also not up my alley, but for some reason I've put in 60 hours so far on a game with previous games that I've been incredibly rubbish with. That's Elden Ring.
Oh yeah, of course.
It is the old From Software special. I've played other From Software games in the past. I've been
Shakira, right?
Sekiro, Dark Souls. I've been incredibly rubbish at them. Terrible. Can't even get past the first boss. This one, got to the first boss, got destroyed. But the thing with Elden Ring is, I think I'm not an expert. I can be clear on that. I am no expert. I put up one YouTube short on an Elden Ring video. Let's just say the audience between YouTube and TikTok, very different. TikTok, having a bit of a laugh, no problem. YouTube, it's like their first child just died. It's just
because you did really badly,
anger.
or yeah.
Oh no, because I knew that what I was doing. I just thought it'd be funny. It's just people get absolutely upset. It's like, oh, enemies will do lots of damage to you. Get real and all this stuff. Like, I know that. I just didn't expect people to get incredibly upset of me being
people on the internet.
Dickhead. I know it's the people on the internet. I just found it more interesting that TikTok people have a bit of a laugh, see the unserious side of it, compared to YouTube, which is just, we all know, dickheads.
Yeah.
So I wasn't expecting anything. I just laughed at those people thinking I was taking it seriously.
That's fair.
Which I wasn't. But yeah, I think with Elden Ring, compared to other Dark Souls games, it's a bit more of a free roam.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's kind of open world, and so
very open world.
You can kind of go and get good or level up and then come back.
It's like Breath of the Wild, except weapons don't break. No stamina. I know there's stamina. Better stamina. Bosses, probably a bit harder.
Yeah, I'd imagine.
Just a little bit.
Just a bit.
Pretty much.
Base.
It's just like those, was it the Lionels? Times that by about 10.
Yeah.
And that is your boss. And for some reason, I've been absolutely pulling things out of my ass and somehow beating these bosses. And I scratch my head and go, what am I doing? Right. Not wrong. Right. Because I'm there. Button mashing in this game. Terrible idea.
So who's
not your friend?
I'm going to Google it because I don't care. Who's the most recent one that you've beaten? I'm just trying to get a sense of how far you've through this.
I don't know. If there's
like a Millennia? No.
Yeah, no, I haven't gone past. Not even got close to Millennia yet.
I can't think of her name.
But... No, Millennia is the correct boss. It's not. I'm not up to that boss yet. Hang on, let me just have a quick check.
Every boss in order. How is it that Sports Illustrated is the one that's directing me to this? What?
Yeah, Sports Illustrated do some weird things sometimes.
Some games things now.
I don't know why. It's just
Margit the Fellowman, Godric the Grafted,
Red Wolf
of Radagon.
Yep. Ben the Red Wolf. Ben the Queen.
Renala, Queen of the Full Moon. Rykard, Lord of Blasphemy.
I haven't done him yet.
I've done this.
Yeah, defeated him.
Okay,
defeated him. Died about 90 times to that guy.
Godfrey, the first Elden Lord.
No idea. No, I haven't done that guy. Fire Giant, no.
Looking at the same thing, okay.
Yeah, and I'm looking at something else, but it's sort of give or take, it's the same path. Yeah, I think those are the main bosses. I think in total they said there's about 260 bosses, give or take. There's different levels.
Sick. Oh.
Hey, some of them are pretty easy. What are you looking at?
No,
What?
no, as in
Oh,
just the idea of there being 260 bosses makes me sick.
hey, it's all about exploring. That's the idea of the game. You just don't listen to the little advice things on the ground that say, "Oh, easy foe ahead." That's probably the hardest thing you've ever done. But hey, I'm actually having fun with it. I've probably been less frustrated with this game than I have with other games in the past. I reckon I had more
I have heard
frustration
that.
with Returnal. I've had more frustration with Returnal than I have with Elden Ring, which makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. But hey, I can't complain.
Yeah, I have heard that from people that like this one's more approachable, and I think it's maybe because of the open world thing. Like even if you are shit, you can kind of go off and kind of level grind a little bit. You don't have, and then eventually come back to the boss that's causing you problems. And even if you're not necessarily good enough, you've maybe got the DPS up to a point where you can get the job done, even if it's not quite the way you perhaps should. Which I think is a step in the right direction. I think in terms of making the games more accessible, like they don't have to compromise on their difficulty or any of that sort of thing. But there's ways to do it. Um, just for someone like myself, I still just can't because I want to play it. They want the way they want me to play it. It's just I can't. So, um, yeah, I'm not gonna beat my head against the wall for something like that. Unfortunately,
That's fair. It's
that that
it's
big
one of those
that
games.
big collector's edition I've managed to get my hands on. That was meant to then go to Max Cooper of the Pop Culturist, but then he was not financially able to take it at the time, and so suddenly I just ended up with an Elden Ring collector's edition. I finally sold over the break. It's gone.
Oh, that's another
$300.
collector's
That's right.
item. Another collector's item you've sold. The Cyberpunk,
Yeah, Cyberpunk
Elden Ring.
and Elden Ring. That's it. These will all stay. I think.
Thing. I would say there's nothing worthless up there. Maybe that Premier's flag there. You can probably burn that.
Get around them. Get around the cats. Anyway,
Then onto my So I've done 60 hours of that so far. Don't know how the hell I was there actually, and I'm looking over, scratching my head on Thursday night because we had the day off on Friday.
yep.
I thought it was 9 o'clock at night. I thought, I'll just play a little bit, go to bed. Played a little bit, looked at the time. It was 2 o'clock in the morning, and I thought, what? What was I doing? I felt tired at night. I thought, just play a little bit, and then look at the clock, 2 o'clock. I thought, no. What am I doing with my life? I haven't played it since.
Yeah, but you'll get there. I know you'll get there. So
Eventually. And then onto my second last game. Long list, as usual.
don't worry,
My
mine's just
my
as
my,
lucky. So.
my streaming game that I've started off with this year, which is Red Dead 2.
Go on, talk me through it because I still haven't played Red Dead 2 enough. More than like 3 or 4 hours.
I mean, I can't. I've played Red Dead 2, and I've played it now, and I can't remember anything that happened in my first playthrough. And
Yeah, right.
I played it back in when it first came out, 2018. And I'm scratching my head at things and going, I can't remember a single thing of this at all. Still a good game. Don't get me wrong. I'm looking at it going, it's a good game. It's actually not in 60 frames per second, and I don't care. My horse hasn't died yet, which is an absolute achievement for me because when I first played Red Dead, my horse died in about 2 hours because I ran into a tree.
Yeah, right.
Which is
and what killed the experience for me in the end was my horse getting stuck on. I think I've told this story. My horse getting stuck on the train tracks.
Yes.
Its hooves it just suddenly got locked there as the train came through and mowed the prick down. So,
The one thing I didn't realize because my horse died, I grabbed the saddle and started running to the closest town, which took me 30 minutes to get there, only to realize I did have to take the saddle with me when I got to the stable. I thought, I'm a dickhead. But then someone in chat was telling me, you do know that you can use the fire to fast travel. And I thought, wait, what? I was like, I've been playing this game for a long time, for like 100+ hours. Didn't even know you could fast travel with fire, with the fireplace.
The community
doesn't tell you.
they were pretty
It doesn't tell
happily.
you.
They were pretty happy just watching you fuck around for a bit.
Yeah, but he said too, like, they don't tell you about it, but it's there. There's no, like, they have all the other tutorials, like, hey, press your 2 sticks for Deadeye and all this stuff. Press Y to get on your horse. Doesn't tell you about fast travel whatsoever. it's just there, but they don't tell you it's there. It's like, here, grab some meat, cook it on your fire. Fast travel's there, don't tell you about it.
Well done,
Which I don't
Rockstar.
care about. Which I can understand why they don't do it, because if you just roam around, there's just some random event
Well, they want you to explore the world and not
for
skip
the
it.
world, and also there's like random things happening within, I don't know, every 2 to 3 minutes.
Yeah.
And why would you want to add that in and just miss all the fun? Like, the Ku Klux Klan set themselves on fire. Absolutely brilliant, as I always say. Putting the cross up, get squashed. Absolutely hilarious. And then I'm there just absolutely mocking the shit out of them because it's hilarious.
As you should. Well, you got
But yeah,
one more game.
one more game. The game that I purchased off you.
Oh,
It is one of the things because, okay, it's Spider-Man 2, and I scratched my head because I got, was it the collector's? I don't know what, special edition, collector's edition,
yeah.
whatever edition it was. I can't remember what it was. The one where you get the.
Came with 19 inches of Venom. I just kept the 19
I just didn't get the Venom part.
for my own pleasure.
You got like. Of course you did. Of course.
I mean, I ended that short by saying, "Where are you going to put 19 inches of Venom?" Like it's
On my shelf.
and yeah, it's just on
On a table. And then, but the whatever I can't remember what it was called. It wasn't a collector's edition, special edition, some edition. I can't remember what it was. It came with 3 suits that I never wore because there are better suits you can unlock in the game, and 3 skill points, which are absolutely useless because if you just, I don't know, do the missions, you get the skill points in the end anyway. So I'm scratching my head going, if anyone purchased this at full price, I'd be not happy, but they probably wouldn't pay attention to that like I did because I'm looking at these suits at the bottom going, that's rubbish, that's rubbish, that's rubbish. Then I see this one with, I can unlock with my tech parts and go, that's way cooler. And that's what I went with.
Yeah, DLC suits and skins and those sort of things usually are the worst ones. Otherwise, it's just a weird thing that if people buy it for that, they're doing it all wrong.
Because I just don't understand. You pay $120 for 3 skill points. Let's be honest. If you play the game fully and completely, you're never going to use.
Well, yeah, because you earn enough from your main play. I mean, maybe there'll be an advantage because, again, sorry, people, we're discussing the Insomniac League hack. There's supposed to be 3 chapters of DLC coming out, and maybe that then as a result gives you a bit of a head start on some skills that might become an option for you through that. But even then, you'll be able to unlock those the normal way too. So it's a weird one.
Yeah, it's a weird one. But overall, it is a terrible game. No, I'm kidding. It is a great game. I can understand people getting angry and saying, "Oh, it's got robbed at the Game Awards." It didn't. Overall, It is a great game. But if you break things apart out of that game, other games did it better. And I know you've played Alan Wake 2, or parts of Alan Wake 2.
I've played, I feel like, enough of Alan Wake 2 now to speak properly to Alan Wake 2, and I will shortly.
You understand the musical part of...
We Sing is phenomenal.
It is a brilliant level.
Oh my god.
It's a shame. It is a shame that there's no replay level. I don't think there is in Alan Wake 2, which is a shame, because that level is fantastic. And that musical thing won over Spider-Man. People are upset about that. Shut your face, because it is that musical part of Alan Wake 2. I don't care if it was 2 minutes long. It still deserves that award at the Game Awards. I don't care.
Yeah, I mean, it's. I might, once I kind of roll through, and I've got a bit of a backlog, and again, I'll talk about this soon in terms of the things that I want to play from last year or whatever. But where'd Spider-Man 2? I mean, Spider-Man 2 is currently second on my list, but that's pending Alan Wake 2. That's all those sorts of things. So I might start working on changing that up as I start knocking off games from 2023. Again, more on that soon. But yeah, I can totally see why Alan Wake 2 wins. It might be a little bit subjective, but like I think when it comes to things like We Sing, you just sit back and marvel at what they did there. But marvel.
Oh, but overall, the story's great. It is a good story. Combat is, it's pretty much the same as the first one, and circle is dodge.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, it helps.
yeah, but it's just one of those things. It's an overall, it's a brilliant game. I don't think it really improved on much on the first game because it didn't have to.
Yeah.
Because I think the whole thing was the crime activity. You're not having to sit around and wait and stop some crime activity in that area, which
Yeah.
is great. Which was great because I hated that in the first one because you had to if you wanted to platinum Spider-Man, you had to do everything in the district, and one of the district things was crime activity, and you'd sit there for about 5 to 10 minutes waiting
Waiting for
for
something.
one bit of crime, and it got even more annoying when it was in another district that you've already completed.
Yeah.
But in this case, not to be. No crime activity whatsoever. It's just all activities, and I did them all.
Yeah, it's
On Christmas Day, I got the platinum.
very nice.
Finished the game on Christmas Eve. At about the same time, I thought, I'm so close to finishing this game. And I did.
Give it a crack.
And overall, the two-player experience of Miles and Peter Parker is brilliant.
Yeah. They didn't do a lot wrong, to be honest. It's just that other games might have done some things better. I think
that's the case. Like, overall, the game itself is great, but if you break those elements apart, other games did it better.
Yeah. It's the unfortunate Insomniac thing where like they continue to just put out amazing games, but every single year they seem to launch alongside some
better games,
big groundbreakers or something like that. You know, it's kind of it's the same problem Guerrilla's had for years with Horizon, where you know they put out Horizon 1 and it went head to head with Zelda. They put out Horizon 2 and it went head to head with Elden Ring. And then you think about Spider-Man that went head to head with Red Dead 2. And what?
I didn't win. I didn't win that.
No, it lost. No, like what game won Game of the Year though in 2018?
Wasn't Red Dead 2018?
Oh, and God of War.
Yeah.
So God of War was early in the piece. Spider-Man then went head to head, kind of roughly timeline wise with Red Dead. But yeah, like you know, kind of dealt with a few. And then 2023 rolls along, and Spider-Man's got Tears of the Kingdom, Baldur's Gate 3, Alan Wake 2. I'll toss Final Fantasy 16 in there because that's the game that you know is number one for me. But and a range of others that you know like are kind of on my list to work through that I know to be amazing. So, but yeah, we'll get to that in a sec, I guess. Anything else you wanted to add though, before we jump over to my half of things?
That's it. I'm done.
All right. Well, I might just very briefly actually because I did assemble kind of my top 10 for the year. I'll quickly just rattle off those. You mentioned Wild Hearts before. That's my 10th.
Oh yeah.
For the year, that will fall because Alan Wake 2 absolutely is better than it. But I'm not done with Alan Wake 2, so I won't pop it in there yet. SteamWorld Build I had at 9, Mario Brothers Wonder at 8, Star Wars Jedi Survivor at 7, Sea of Stars at 6, Pikmin 4 at 5, Octopath Traveler 2 at 4, Dredge at 3, Spider-Man 2 at 2, and Final Fantasy 16 at number 1. But
Dredge at 3.
I think Alan Wake 2 will probably wedge itself in between 1 and 2 at the moment. So,
it's a tough one.
16 is so good, but that actually probably segues me over to the games I've been playing because you mentioned obviously the God of War Valhalla DLC. Well, within the same space of a week, Final Fantasy 16 got its first piece of DLC, so I jumped into that to check out Echoes of the Fallen. Not nearly as good as Valhalla. Not nearly as good as the main game. It's perfectly fine. It's nice to kind of jump into the boots of Ben Starr again. Sorry.
Was he playing a pigeon?
Not playing
3 pigeons.
No pigeons, unfortunately. But it was good to be back in the boots of Clive Rossfield again. The story's pretty, well, in terms of what they've added, they're kind of in a weird spot. It's the typical RPG thing that you know you'll be familiar with as well, where you finish the main game. It's like now let's take you back to this point here, so you can go off and do more things in the world. Because the ending of in this case, Final Fantasy 16 is a really you see it happen all the time with big RPGs, whether they're Japanese or Western ones. Witcher does it. Horizon does it. Massive. No,
I don't think Mass Effect does. No. Oh, it does.
No, yeah, you can go back for Mass Effect.
For some.
But yeah, it's a pretty typical RPG thing these days. 16 does that, but like the ending of 16 is super definitive. So like what they throw at you with the DLC just cannot match the scale or scope or size of what they do, and they've really just kind of made up a stupid, well, not a stupid, but like they've made up a hook to kind of justify a story here, which is perfectly fine. There's some nice kind of love for those who really kind of know Final Fantasy as a franchise. The combat still feels great. Like the voice acting's great. All the things that were awesome about Final Fantasy 16 are still there, but the story and kind of what you're actually going out to do is pretty bland, I guess. I'm doing things a little bit out of order here, but I platinumed twice the Bluey video game. Now,
oh yeah,
I did that with the kids. Like they just, they're 3 and 5. They love Bluey, and it's as a video game, it's not great. As a family experience, it was a great time. The kids had an awesome time. Just like I was still on the controls because, well, 3-year-olds definitely not up to it, and Noah's just started playing Mario Kart and can kind of do that. But Mario Kart 8, the experience of Mario Kart 8, like they're pretty hand-holdy a little bit and kind of pull you back towards the track. So he's still really kind of developing a little bit in that space. So it was me playing and them kind of pointing out when they'd see a newspaper, when they'd see the various collectibles or whatever you need to get along the way. But they got right into it. It was a good family time. And yeah, I did that on the PS4 version and the PS5 version so that they could kind of do it all over again and have a bit of fun with it a second time. Enough said probably about Bluey. Thirsty Suitors is a game I played. It's an indie game. It comes from past Dev Diary guest, admittedly, but Eka, they did Falcon Age. It was a VR game back in the day. This is not a VR game. It's very, very indie. It's got a very kind of niche market. It's focusing on kind of the Southeast Asian kind of aesthetic and themes and tones and styles and those sort of things. With kind of Western splashes here, there, and everywhere. You kind of jump on like there's a skateboard mechanic that's not overly great. There's some like RPG, like turn-based RPG systems that are all right. It's got its real shtick about like I've forgotten it's a big franchise about a guy that's like got a whole bunch of ex-girlfriends.
Scott Pilgrim.
It's kind of got that Scott Pilgrim sort of feel, gender reversed. There's a girl there with a whole bunch of past relationships, and you're kind of dealing with each of those people and the baggage and kind of mending the bridges on all of them. That's kind of the general thing of the story there, but with that really Southeast Asian sort of flair. It's cool. It's fun. Probably outstays its welcome a little bit, but it's all right. Where are we? Working through the list here. I can't remember if I touched on it last time. I won't go super deep into the whole thing. It looks like my last trophy was the day before we recorded last time, but I don't really know.
I thought for a second you were going to say the day before.
Oh, no. Not Steamworld. So Star Ocean, the second story, the remake of that one. I can't remember if I discussed it, but like it's great. I'll leave it at that, though. We touched on Dredge before. I won't dive too deeply into that, but I jumped back into it for the Pale Reach DLC, and like I said, great 2-3 hours well spent. Really, really enjoyed going back to that, and there's this little itch in the back of mine that makes me want to go and chase the platinum for the game, but we'll see if time allows it. And then that kind of takes us to January, where I had this great plan of knocking out a whole bunch of backlog games that, from specifically 2023, just because there was a good long list of those, and I'll rattle that list off in a sec. But I ended up getting codes for some January games a little bit sooner than I expected. One of them was The Last of Us Part 2 Remastered, and we've obviously spoken about that. Another was Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown, which is amazing.
Oh, yeah.
It is such a good game. Goes back to kind of old school, and I'm talking even pre-Sands of Time sort of Prince of Persia in terms of that. It's 2D, or I guess in this case it's 2.5, but that 2D platforming sort of stuff. Combat really kind of feels like it's been drawn though from the more modern sort of day and age of Metroidvanias, where there can be some really hard bosses and that sort of thing. Some great little mechanics that they've introduced in there, because Metroidvanias can be hard for some people in terms of tracking where everything was and what you do with the backtracking components. There's like a little screenshot feature for any puzzles and stuff, and you can pin them to your map. There's a whole bunch of little like different icons that you can select, and you can kind of build your own language around what those icons represent. So maybe every question mark is, I have no idea what's going on here. Maybe you put a little triangle to represent something that, I can only get back to that when I can kind of get like a double jump or something like that. And eventually when you do that, suddenly those things, it's got a lot of good systems in it, which admittedly, some of those systems like that different icons on the map that you can create and pin is something that's kind of been lifted from plenty of other games in the past, including like Breath of the Wild and stuff. But it works really, really well in this setting. There's a lot of good kind of quality of life stuff that they've introduced into that game that makes it a pretty enticing prospect. I'm really glad to hear that it's being well received. I don't know if it's selling super well. I haven't seen or heard anything on that, but it's like at least reception wise, it's been really, really positive. It's a great game. Immortality is a game that I've played recently. It was a Sam Barlow game, came out in like 2021 or 2020, I'm going to say. It was an Xbox game. At the time, I think it was mobile as well. Finally came across to PlayStation. I got sent a code for review. So went and checked it out, considering I didn't actually play it on other platforms back in the day. It's like an old FMV style game, like the full motion video, like actual actors and all that sort of stuff.
Really?
But it's like
Goosebumps.
this, not quite along those lines, but it's a whole found footage thing. So like the whole idea, I don't know if you've seen it or heard anything about Immortality in the past, but like you're going back through, it's kind of like what happened to these characters, and you're going through like clips from these three different movies that were made but never made it to cinemas. And like you'll kind of there's faces that are common across each of these three movies. One in particular, Marissa Marcel, and like you can freeze the frame, click on her face, and it'll take you to another clip. And then you might click it. There's different people or different items or whatever it is, and bit by bit you're collecting all these clips up that then kind of pulls together this big mystery. It's a really fascinating sort of thing. The only downside is it feels like, there's two downsides. It feels like you're just kind of randomly clicking things to see what works. That will take you to something new. But they have little moments, and they use the DualSense pretty well in this sense. We were talking about the gimmicks around the control before, but like the triggers and stuff, like as there's kind of like a mysterious, weird story that's kind of going on the side, and in certain clips, the controller starts to kind of like get the haptics really start going, and the triggers start to kind of pull back on you a little bit, and that's kind of like a prompt to rewind back through it, or there's different sort of tricks that you can kind of apply that helps find the secrets that are concealed within that shot. It's a really cool thing that they're going for, but the UI is not great on the controller. It doesn't translate super well to using a controller. It's definitely better on PC or with a phone even, just because of the way you have to interact with the game. And yeah, the story just kind of feels like you're clicking through randomly at points, but kind of cool what they're working on there. Alan Wake 2, we touched on before. Now, yeah, you're done with it, aren't you?
Yeah.
Done. I should be in the next couple of nights. That's on my to-do list. I'm expecting some codes for a few different games coming very imminently, but I will continue to push through and get Alan Wake done, even if it has to be a couple big all-night, even close to all-nighters just to get the job done. Not great timing considering I go back to work tomorrow, but I'll make it work. Because holy shit, it's good. And yeah, We Sing, we've already touched on that. Unreal, that segment. Storytelling's awesome. I love the mind place when you're playing as Saga. I love how like the actions of what Alan's doing is then kind of warping the world, and in terms of what he writes in the script and how things kind of change on the spot. The overlaps and kind of like how you get into those, but then what goes on in there and the different loops that you go through, they're really cool. Just everything's top shelf. Like it's all the hype is 100%. I'm 100% on board with it. I love it.
I say for a game that people are waiting 13 years for, it does not disappoint.
Yeah,
we've had games in the past that have been like, let's just say the worst example, Duke Nukem Forever. It's the best example of a terrible, long-awaited sequel, and it is outdated and rubbish. Alan Wake 2, on the other hand, it just takes bits and pieces from, I'd say, the other games that they made in between Alan Wake. So you can look at Quantum Break, Control, definitely Control, if you really look into it.
Oh, I mean, the Federal Bureau of Control's in there multiple times as a light, obvious touching stone, but there's heaps of other little nuggets
bits
as well.
And pieces. But you don't have to play Control to understand, because they're there, but you don't really care that they're there, sort of thing. And like most of the characters you see from the Federal Bureau of Control are not even in control that I'm aware of.
Yeah, most of them
I
aren't.
don't
Yeah.
think. I could be wrong on that too. There could be just some side character there that's just reappeared. And
Well, it does tempt me to go back and play
actually no,
Control.
that's wrong. That's wrong. There is one person
Yeah, there's
from
one.
Control that's
There's
in there.
one.
One. There is one. But I'm not going to say who.
No, don't say who.
That'll ruin the whole game.
But yeah, it's just such a good game. I'm completely in love with it.
Man,
I'm
those
filthy
jump
that I didn't get
scares
to it
too.
right away. Oh my god.
Oh, just casually there, mind your own business, and all of a sudden, bang!
The
It just
screaming face in your screen, like the types of scares they're going for. There is the occasional one where like someone like a taken is kind of just hidden around a corner. They kind of half jump out and get you with that kind of jump scare. But really, it's for the most part, it's the walking along and suddenly, big psychological.
You're just casually just walking around a lit up hallway, and then all of a sudden, jump scare for no reason whatsoever, just to scare the shit out of you. And you're like, "Oh, you bastards!"
Yeah.
Sweet. Good thing I wasn't eating anything or drinking anything because I would have drowned.
The wolves have gotten me once or twice as well because
Yeah.
they're kind of a bit low key and then boom, they're suddenly there jumping on your arm or whatever the case is. Like that's just kind of surprising. More in like a oh fuck, I wasn't ready for that, and kind of having to try and pivot and quickly shoot and make sure I got the right thing out. Oh shit, I activated a flare instead by mistake. Like those sorts.
I've
of
done
things.
that, yes. But I think the one thing I do like as well, your lamps, your lights, your safety lights are back. However, if you decide to be a smart ass and you go, oh, you know what, I'm going to shoot him from the lights. Lights go out, you're screwed. Because I did that a couple of times. Like, I'm just going to shoot this guy because, he can't come to the light. You shoot him, light goes out. I'm thinking, no.
Now it's
what
on.
have I done? It is on.
And to be fair, the combat's not really what it's all about, and you can kind of run through good chunks of it, not all of it, but good chunks of the game in that respect as well. If you don't want to engage in that side of it, or a little bit
you can absolutely
scared or
stealth
haven't managed your ammo or whatever, so
you can stealth it as well if you really want to.
Up to a point, yeah.
Up to a point.
So they've just nailed everything, and we sing now that I've been listening to Herald of Darkness for ages, and especially since the Game Awards performance, but actually seeing it in the way it was delivered in the game, that's just even better.
It's also its guidance too, because you're like, oh, what am I doing? And then this big guy on the screen just goes, it just points that way. I'm thinking, oh, thanks.
Yeah, it's incredible design. The last game that I'm playing isn't on PlayStation. It's on Switch.
Actually, no. Before the whole Alan Wake thing, the one thing that threw me off completely as well, the person who plays the character Alan Wake,
yes,
is different to the voice of Alan Wake, which I didn't even realize. Because then you see him in there's the live action footage of the game, and it sort of throws you off because you think, oh, that's actually him acting, which it is, but it's also not his voice. It's a Finnish guy, and it was when I heard him actually speak, I thought, wait, you don't sound American. Your name's not even American, and it just completely threw me off. And then you see the actual guy who voices Alan Wake, who's in control as the main scientist dude, and you hear that voice and go, oh, that's you, but it's not you, it's your voice, and it just absolutely confused the hell out of me because I thought it actually was his voice. Not dubbed.
I follow what you mean, but it's dubbed and it's done very, very well. But dubbed.
Because you kind of forget too, because in Alan Wake there was no live action.
Well, the thing that kind of made it clear for me was actually, and I guess because I hadn't played the game at that point, or I'd kind of done the very small bit because I did the player 2 plays for it when it came out, and there was no Alan at that point; it was all Saga. Was the Game Awards performance because you had the actor out there, but then you had the two that were singing and off to the side, so Mr. Door and then the actual voice of Alan. So that kind of, I'm like, oh, okay, I get what's going on here, but it's still.
Oh man, when you're in the morgue to start off with, and then shit starts to get real, you're like, oh, I'm getting excited.
Yeah.
And I don't get excited, I just get jump scared instead.
Yeah, it's damn good game.
It just starts off as like this nice sunny place, nothing to worry about, and then bang, Fat Man.
Then it's on. Oh yeah,
it is on, absolutely on.
Fat Man with his dick out and all that. Yeah, there's lots of things going on. And that, the last game I'm playing, like I said, is actually not on PlayStation, not on Xbox. It's a Switch game. I've been playing Super Mario RPG because Nintendo remade that one last year, and I never actually played it back in the day. Even though, I mean, it never released out here, so that was kind of a bit of an obstacle. But ROMs and emulators were a thing, and I certainly frequented ROMs and emulators back in the day. But Super Mario RPG was just one of those ones that I never gave a crack to because I knew it was kind of the precursor to what we got with things like Paper Mario, which had evolved and improved a lot of what was going on, so I didn't feel the reason to go back. But I'm really enjoying this. I'm just kind of doing little fits and spurts, and an hour here, an hour there, and there's 7 stars to collect. I've got 3 of them up to this point, and just working away at it. But it's a great game. That kind of comedic edge that you get from Paper Mario was there with this game, which was actually a Square Enix title back in the day. But yeah, really enjoying it. Yeah, Square Enix made Super Mario RPG.
That just completely throws me off. Square Enix made a Mario game back in the 90s.
Well, I mean, Capcom made Zelda games back in the 90s. So.
I just realised when I said that a lot of developers made a lot of Mario games. Like Mario is Lost. That was Nintendo. I remember that.
Yeah, because Mario, they wouldn't make a game that shit.
No, that was rubbish.
I wonder who made Mario's Time Machine, actually. Hopefully it wasn't Nintendo.
No, not.
So yeah, I'm playing that, enjoying it, but just chipping away. I'll probably have more to say about that one next week. I'm hopeful that I mentioned before that there's games kind of coming. I'm expecting codes pretty imminently. I've got a backlog that I want to get through, and I did kind of allude to that before. There's 12 games that sitting on my list from 2023 that I want to play. I'm working through 2 of them with Alan Wake and Super Mario RPG. But I've got Assassin's Creed Mirage, Diablo 4, Resident Evil 4, Horizon Call of the Mountain. I still need to play Forspoken, Dead Space, Atomic Heart, which is kind of less of a priority, but I'm interested to just see what it was like in the end. Metroid Prime Remastered, Starfield, and Baldur's Gate 3. All of these games, thanks to the handy IGN playlist app, which kind of, because they own How Long to Beat, keeps a record of the whole thing. It's 365 hours of games from last year that I still want to finish off.
Ooh.
So
an hour a day. Well,
yeah, if I do an hour a day on top of everything else. So I'm kind of recognizing I want to get through Alan Wake. I want to get through Paper Mario or Mario on the side still. Really want to get through Alan Wake initially because the new games are fair bit close, and I guess it's a good opportunity for us to throw to those before we wrap up. There's, I'm still interested in Suicide Squad no matter what it ultimately becomes. There's a few different RPGs. It ends with Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, which I will, as soon as that arrives and I get the opportunity to play that, whether it's via code or whether it's the copy that I've got pre-ordered. The moment that comes in, I'm all in on that. February's just got quite a few. There's even things like Banishers, Ghosts of New Eden game. There's quite a few. Helldivers 2. There's some cool games coming out through Feb that I definitely want to check out. So if I can knock out Alan Wake 2, get through as many of those games of Feb as possible, and then start working on the list again, because March is not too bad. I'm not crazy about Dragon's Dogma 2, like a lot of people are. Rise of the Ronin is a Souls-like, so not interested in that. Alone in the Dark looks like it's going to be kind of shit. Princess Peach Showtime should be cool. Unicorn Overlord is kind of interesting, but it's... I'll save that for another time.
Don't.
But it's kind of light on from there. We've got things like Senua's Saga coming in May, but I feel like there's going to be lots of opportunities to catch up on stuff. So if I can knock out Alan Wake, if I can keep chipping away at Mario on the side, and then deal with the Feb games and keep largely on top of that, then I think I'm in a pretty good spot. So we'll see how we go. I didn't get as many backlog games done in January as I would have liked while I had the school holidays. I really hoped to kind of knock out maybe 4 or 5 of those games, and instead I've done none so far, and just close to finishing 2 of them. But yeah, we'll see how we go. What's on for you through Feb? Are there any games that new releases you're keen to play, or are you going to continue chipping away at other stuff?
Well, I'll try and get onto The Last of Us Part 2. And probably just more Elden Ring, maybe some more Palworld. That's really it. I don't think there's any new games on my list of games to play yet.
No, Feb's a big JRPG month, so you're
hard pass.
You're kind of safe unless you consider having a crack at Rebirth. But I think I wouldn't recommend that unless you played all of Remake. So.
Oh well, I haven't done that.
You haven't done that, so. Otherwise, I genuinely think like remake might be the sort of one for you, really, because it's still
And
pretty.
16 as well.
And 16, yeah, they're pretty action focused, very Xenoblade like in that respect. Like Xenoblade is kind of the more action
20-minute
JRPG, and Rebirth is the action RPG as well. I think actually you could really get into the 7 remake, 7 Rebirth sort of thing, but one at a time. But that's all right. It works pretty well for you then, if there's not a huge number for you to catch up on. Sorry, to play from this month, because that was kind of the busy, crazy month, and you're dodging it for the most part.
A win.
Yeah, you've won this month. Any other thoughts at all? Because this has been a long one.
Yeah, really long. No, I've got no other thoughts. None whatsoever.
Awesome. We'll wrap things up then. That's obviously 2 months worth of games that we've been discussing there, with potentially another big episode coming next month for all the Feb games that I'll be talking about at the very least, plus your Red Dead experiences and more. So until next week, please make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Check out all the awesome content. There'll be a cool video popping up in the top left corner, so go check that out as well. Visit the website player2.net.au. There's reviews, previews. We've got these hype check features, which is kind of getting a bit of traction lately, both with the video things on social media, but also the articles itself. It's just kind of us touching base and talking about games before they come out, but not previewing, not reviewing, so not getting ourselves in trouble for anything. Cool stuff there. Links to all the podcast series from Patch to Dev Diary. Go check all that out. We're on Patreon, patreon.com/player2au, kicking a few bucks. And finally, there's Twitter. Matto?
Matto_Phil.
Paul James Games for myself. The website is player2au. And until next week, let us know in the comments what games you were playing. Go check out whatever video I've pinned in the top left corner here. It'll be great stuff to check out. Maybe another episode of Patched. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you later.